The Wyoming House asks the Senate to spend $651 million more than they planned in their biennial budget. Senator John Barrasso was on the short list for consideration to replace outgoing Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. And it won't be long before Colorado wolves cross into Wyoming. We'll take a look at these stories and more today from Wyoming's largest news organization. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily. The Wyoming House has made the first move in its biennial budget negotiations with the Senate, requesting the Senate's representatives to spend $651 million more than their original budget. Political reporter Leo Wolfson says the House made 8 requests for additional appropriations during Thursday afternoon's meeting of the Joint Conference Committee.
Some of the other big ones was $69 million for a state veterans home in Buffalo, and then also returning funding for the University of Wyoming's Diversity and Equity Office is another big one. And then also another big one is $110 million for major school capital construction funding. There have been a number of schools that have been slated for design work and construction work that was removed from the Senate budget.
There's a massive spending gap of about $1 billion separating the two budgets, with the House coming in at $10.8 billion and the Senate at $9.7. An influential 5-person review panel of Wyoming's Energy Matching Funds program has recommended nearly $11 million to evaluate 2 projects that could help energize electric vehicles and squeeze more oil out of the ground. Energy reporter Pat Mayo says the sponsors of the projects expect to kick in another $12 million to fund their efforts, putting their total combined spending at $23 million for innovative energy projects in Wyoming.
Usually these projects that come out of the WEA through the Energy Matching Grant Program are innovative, something different to kind of get more bang for the buck on energy in the state of Wyoming. It's kind of a way to get more energy out of the ground.
Wyoming Governor Mark Gordon has the final say on the 2 projects. With the announcement that Senator Mitch McConnell won't run again for Senate Minority Leader, Wyoming Senior Senator John Barrasso was on the short list of frontrunners to replace him. Cowboy State Daily's Claire McFarland reports that insiders consider Barrasso to be one of the 3 Johns who could potentially fill the seat, along with Republican Whip John Cornyn of Texas and Republican Whip Senator John Thune of South Dakota.
Pete Obermueller, who worked in D.C. when Cynthia Lummis was a representative, he worked for her. He said, look, it's not a popularity contest. It's also about who would be strategic and innovative in getting the Republican agenda pushed in the Senate. But on the other hand, I'm hearing from my analysts that it's a little bit about how well liked you are.
Barrasso now ranks 3rd in GOP leadership as Republican Conference Chairman, behind Republican Floor Leader Mitch McConnell and Cornyn. I'll be back with more news right after this.
Are you fabulous and 55? Are you ready to use your valuable time and talent to give back? Join Serve Wyoming through the AmeriCorps Seniors Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, or RSVP, and make a positive impact on your community. With a lifetime of skills and experiences, you're exactly what your community needs. Whether you're itching to lend a hand or your organization could use some extra support, we've got you covered. Call Sarah Roberts at Serve Wyoming at 307-234-3428 or RSVP at servewyoming.org.
There's an upswell of concern among some Wyoming energy industry leaders about $347 million in cuts the state Senate has made to the governor's Energy Matching Funds program administered by the Wyoming Energy Authority, or WEA. The program provides money to help bring innovative and transformative energy projects to Wyoming, according to Cowboy State Daily's Leo Wolfson, who spoke to energy industry insiders about their concerns about the proposal.
And a lot of money was dedicated under the governor, Mark Gordon's discretion. So the Senate said that they believe that there's just too much money to be under the governor's discretion alone, and they removed it from the budget.
WEA Executive Director Rob Krieger said that if the amendment moves forward as passed in the budget, it will have serious implications for Wyoming. And there's no telling when wolves from Colorado will cross the state line into Wyoming, but one wolf watcher told Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines that it's bound to happen, and soon.
For quite a while now, they've been verifying wolves' presence in Jackson County, Colorado. That's just south of the Wyoming state line, so it's anybody's guess, but I think the overall consensus is that people are confident that at some point, at least some of the wolves are going to cross the state line over into Wyoming, and of course, that raises the question, will they survive? Because in that part of Wyoming, it's, wolves are shoot on sight.
In December, Colorado Parks and Wildlife agents released 10 wolves brought in from Oregon at undisclosed remote locations in Grand and Summit counties in northern Colorado. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the subscribe button on CowboyStateDaily.com. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.